Back on the SportsMax zone now, we're talking cricket, and the West Indies First Class Championship is set to return for the first time in 2 years. Next week, the 2019-2020 season, you may remember, was aborted after 48 games due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Barbados Pride, runaway 40-point leaders at the time, were declared winners after topping the table with 134.8 points, including 6 wins and 2 defeats. Here's a full look at those standings as they were in that unfinished season. The Barbados Pride on top with 134.8 points. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force 94.6. The Jamaica Scorpions 91.8, the same as the Guyana Jaguars, who were 91.8 as well. The Windwards Volcanoes 78, and the Leewards Hurricanes were bottom of the table at 52.8 points. Now, the 2020-21 season was abandoned, and as a build-up to the much anticipated 4-day competition, we will look at all 6 teams as they prepare to battle for regional Red Bowl supremacy. The Windwards Volcanoes will play their opening fixture at home under the captaincy of the Dominican Kavem Hodge and coach Shirley Clark, the 45-year-old Barbadian ex-West Indies under-19 captain. The Windwards Volcanoes squad looking pretty mixed with experience and youth. Kavem Hodge, still a young man. Captain Kieran Kotoy, the Vincentian spinner, is the vice-captain. Dennis Smith is there. The 40-year-old Devon Smith, former West Indies opening batsman, is there as well. Kiman Emilius, who was the West Indies under-19 captain the cycle before this one. Alec Athenas, who was the leading run scorer in the ICC World Cup when he played. Ran John, Larry Edward, Kenneth Denver, Sherman Lewis, Preston McSween, Teddy Bishop, Daryl Cyrus, Josh Thomas, and Akeem Auguste. Auguste and Bishop, of course, 2 players who are in the West Indies under-19 team that contested the Youth World Cup, which is still going on here in the Caribbean. Meanwhile, the Leeward Islands Hurricanes will play defending champions Barbados in their opening fixture at Kensington Oval. Let's have a quick look at the Leeward squad now, inclusive of 2 West Indies Test players in Kyron Powell and Rakeem Cornwell, who is the vice-captain. Jamar Hamilton, the Anguillan, is the captain. Devon Thomas, Nino Henry, Kofi James, Munson Hodge, Casey Carty, who was one of the star performers for the West Indies under-19s in their ICC under-19 World Cup trials back in 2016. There's Ross Powell, Jeremiah Louis, Colin Archibald, Terence Ward, and Amir Jangu, who is Trinidad and Tobago wicketkeeper batsman and is the only non-Leeward Islands player in that franchise at the moment. Joining us now on the SportsMax zone, cricket commentator Vernon Springer. Vernon, how prepared are the Leewards Hurricanes for this return of first-class cricket in the Caribbean? Red Ball cricket hasn't been seen since early 2020, and the Leewards were bottom of the table then. How different is this squad set up to do?
First of all, I think, Lance, you'll also have to include that Jamal Hamilton also played 1 test match. So he'll be the 3rd test player from the Leeward Islands. In terms of the preparation, Lance, I'm more or less concerned that the selectors didn't look to some of the West Indies under-19 youngsters as part of this Leeward Island Hurricane franchise setup. And you're talking about 2 youngsters in Naji Amri. He's about 6'9", big off spinner, easily one of the best spinners the West Indies under-19 has been around. And then you have another left-arm spinner, Jaden Carmichael. And having someone like a Cornwall, Rakeem Cornwall, around at this point in time, me would have been ideal to have those 2 young spinners in that Leeward Island setup going forward, that they can be able to gain some experience. Looking at somebody like Anderson Amadon, another young entrepreneur batsman who's exciting and has got good concentration and has shown you that he's ready for the longer format of the game. But the Leewards have gone back for the same old guard. And same old guard means generally that you're starting against the defending champions Barbados at Kensington Oval. If we follow in terms of what would have happened years ago, batting is always going to be a major concern for the Leeward Islands. It's really, really going to be a major concern.
You
mentioned transition.
You mentioned
in terms of transition, Lance. I would have gone for, if Rakeem Cornwall is available, and he would have been my captain. I'll be thinking about a succession plan by having Casey Carty come through as the vice captain, because you really now need to start thinking about how you're going to develop the young players by giving them a further opportunity. As it stands right now, the Leopards have always had a challenge with captaincy. From Kyron Powell, from the last time we had Kyron Powell, who to me, I think is the best captain in the Leeward. And if you're not going to pick Kyron Powell as your captain and Raheem Cornwall is available, then he really should be leading to be able to take this team. But succession plan, I don't see a succession plan, and we really need to start thinking about the succession plan in terms of leadership.
Yeah, Vernon, you mentioned the 2 under-19 spinners, who all impressed us, Carmichael and Amory. They were ruled out of the back end of the under-19s because of COVID, weren't they? Would that have affected their selection?
I don't think so, because you still had somebody, you have a young person like Anderson Hamadan who was not even considered to be in the reserve. You had Kelvin Pittman from Antigua and Barbuda, a young fast bowler, who was training in St. Kitts with the Leeward Island Hurricane franchise. The intention is that you have somebody like a Colin Tuckett, who is an exciting young wicketkeeper. And I'm saying that you've got to start getting these young players, Lance, around the franchise setup with the experienced players that you have, the Kyron Powell and the Jamal Hamilton and the Alzari Joseph, when they're available. Now is when you have to start getting them in the system.
Yeah, and Springer, my question, because you mentioned the fact that, the Leewards, they have failed to, just capitalize on the young talent, young upcoming talent. My question to you now is, they're up against Barbados. They are the defending champions. Do you get the sense that this year round again, they are outright favorites, or do you see another one of the countries being outright favorites?
Well, I don't think the matter of being out favorite. Barbados are at home, and Barbados on any given day, any team that they pick, is going to be very hard to beat. But the Leewards is quite capable on any given day to defeat Barbados. I think the last time Leewards and Barbados met in St. Kitts, this was like a couple of years ago, maybe about 3, maybe 4 years ago. Jeremiah Louis picked up some wickets. But we're talking about since that transition period time, Leewards and Barbados games have always been very close. It's the batting that is the major concern to me. I am very much also concerned about this bowling lineup for the Leewards going into this Barbados game. And, who are the match winners? There's no Sheena Berridge. Sheena Berridge is somebody who has decided not to take the COVID, and so he's been ruled out. I think that will be a serious miss. And that's why I was saying, the only real established spinner, I'm glad that Kofi James got an opportunity. He's been somebody who's been knocking on the door for some period of time now, and I hope that he gets a chance to play. But I'm almost concerned about the bowling lineup of this team. I think Cornwall is going to have some extra work to do in this lineup.
Yeah, he'll definitely have some extra work to do. My other question to you, Amir Django, he's from Trinidad and Tobago. What does he bring to this Leeward Islands Hurricane side?
Well, if you look back from the last 2 years of the Leeward Island Hurricane setup, Amir Django at the point in time, if I check through his stats, you would see that he would have scored 299 runs from 9 innings from 5 matches. It's something which I think he brings a cool, calm, collective way about his batting in the middle order. There's some folks in the Leewards feel that as the Leewards investing in Amir Django. But if you look at his consistency in the last tournament, like I said to you before the break, he would have had 299 runs, which means that he was one of the candidates as one of the leading batters for the Leeward Island Hurricane franchise team. The top of the order, Munson Hodge, who is in this lineup, he and Django were also the most consistent guys. Casey Catty didn't have an excellent start in the 4-day competition, had a good list day competition. I'm concerned about Jamal Hamilton's batting, because Jamal Hamilton is easily the best wicketkeeper in the Caribbean. For some strange reason, refuses to bat. And I think that is one of the reasons why he's not been selected in the West Indies team. And had Jamal Hamilton, with the opportunities that were provided to him in terms of the build-up games, the best of the best games, he scored a couple of half centuries. He's good enough to get into the team, because I also feel Joshua De Silva should be opening the batting for the West Indies. It would have maybe freed up a spot for Hamilton to come in and be the keeper batsman. Because Hamilton was not making any runs, the West Indies selectors were stuck with nothing else but making sure that we're going to keep Silver behind because he can get us some runs and bat.
Yeah, Vernon, we looked at the Windward squad just now. Let's quickly move on to what they will offer to this tournament. I see Devon Smith at 40 years old is still there. I think he stepped aside in the white ball game to allow the younger players, but he still thinks he has something to offer in the longer version. But there are young players in there set up as well, like Kiman Emilius and two of the under-19s from the World Cup, Teddy Bishop and Akeem O'Geist. What are your thoughts on this Windward squad?
Like Akeem O'Geist, I think he's going to be an exciting player, very, 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 very exciting player. He's not a flamboyant cricketer, but he understands the game. I think the Bishop is also going to be exciting. He just needs to just curve himself to understand this will not be 50 over cricket now. This is for the cricket, so he has to adjust himself. Alex Athens is somebody that has been touted for a very long time. So you realize now that the West Indies under a new coach, they're going to be investing in youths and experience. So you only have one, what you could say, regional campaigner, Devon Smith, who I think is going to bring his experience. Regional cricket, Lance and Mario. Devon, if everybody can bat around Devon Smith, Winwood Islands is in the conversation.
Yeah, and generally, how happy are you as a real cricket enthusiast and someone who invests a lot of time in studying West Indies cricket, Vernon, that we actually do have red ball cricket again, and you know the 4-day version of the game is back after 2 years. How good is this for the regional cricket?
It's been a big effort by West Indies, but I think we need to do more. I say we need to do more, Marion. Lance, is there needs to be an evaluation of the franchise setup in terms of our preparation. How are we preparing our players? Franchises are supposed to be preparing cricketers, ODI cricketers, and more or less T20 cricketers. What we see happening, it means that our cupboard is bare. We need to be able to start to evaluate what is happening at the franchises setup. Are the players on the right diet? Are we working on their mental? Are we working on their physical skills? It's always to say that, yes, some people are passing the fitness test. But what is sort of work ethic? What about our preparation? Are our batters batting 3-4 hours in the next session? Those are things that I am almost concerned about. And maybe to go forward, Lance, I want to see a period of time where the franchise have a second 11 competition, because I think that is what is going to be able to help. So you find the Leeward Islands would have 6 youngsters who are part of the West Indies under-19 setup. None of them might play in this competition for this year, which means it's almost going to be like have to wait another year before the new selection panel will be able to get an opportunity to see them compete with the big boys.
Okay, we've got to leave it there, though, Vernon, because we are out of time. But you're still part of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, aren't you?
No, not at this time.
Not at this time? I didn't realize you had left them. Were you voted off the panel, or you stepped aside?
Stepped aside, moved into a new role.
All right, Vernon, we are always happy to talk to you. And we'll be in touch. We're happy to see red ball cricket back in the Caribbean. We'll link up with you next week.
Bless you.
Yeah, Vernon Springer there, who was formerly a part of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board. As he just informed us, he no longer is. We go to break. When we come back, I think Maraz's second zone updates are up soon.
He might be wrong. Stay and see.